What really got me into radio was the idea that different types of music can mix together, and I always wanted to create a music flow. How conscious were you of music flow when you were program director?
Incredibly conscious, but see, when I was program director, you depended on the people who you hired to know how to do that. You didn't. It wasn't, oh, this song is on the computer sheet because it goes good before or after this song. I mean, now they just stick them out.
So you yourself didn't sit and schedule music?
No,
at the
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. That wouldn't have worked at all. What you did, you had various rotations of
Currents.
Groups, and I mean, a current was an album. It wasn't with good songs marked on it. It
Okay.
wasn't just one song. I think the only way that's ever going to come back again is in the next few years when we all have broadband access to the internet, and you can just easily turn on your computer, or it's on all the time. You flip on, and it's like a radio station. But instead of having to have $20 million to start an outlet with the equipment and the license, you can do it at home. Mm-hmm. You can do it, and there'll be 2 million radio stations.
When internet radio becomes really huge, maybe even web TV and other media, do you think that because it may level the playing field, it's going to lower the standards for what's acceptable as content?
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is we this has gone on now for 5 years, and in 5 more years it'll be 10 years of deprogramming. Consumers will become used to that, so they won't know any difference. So as far as that goes, plus back in the 60s and 70s there was actually something to give a hoot for.
There was a movement.
Yeah, there was the cause.
Right.
I mean, you could do protest songs, and you could do male-female dating relationships. Now there's nothing to write about, so the actual songs, the music itself, doesn't mean much anymore. Here's the thing that I know is there is probably 1,000% more music that has never been heard than what is being heard. And that small segment of the total amount of recorded music is the only thing that is being presented to the consumer. It's a very limited menu. And that's because it's much easier to test the reaction of a small segment of music than all the music that exists.
Right.
And I think it's an insult to the listener.
Whereas internet radio actually can conceivably be a stronger product.
Oh yeah, well first of all, it doesn't matter if you have a 50,000 watt station or a 100,000 watt station or a 1,000,000 watt station on the internet. You are global. It doesn't matter how big your antenna is. In the past you used to have antenna envy. Now you don't. It doesn't matter on the internet. It's all bandwidth.
Yeah. And it might not even be about attracting the number of people anymore. It might be about finding people, a niche audience that buys online.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's much more active of a form of research. On the internet, you know exactly how many people are online with you.
Right.
You know how deep they go into your sites. You know if they buy anything, you know their demographic, you know their email address, you know where they live, you know how far they travel, you know what kind of car they have. On radio, you never knew any of that.
I think they found out in the mid-'70s that dance music is the easiest to market, easiest to test, easiest to get a reaction.
To women.
Yeah, okay.
And women is the primary skewing demographic of radio stations. If you have the woman, and this is interesting, if you have the female of any family, you've got all the males.
Yeah.
Because, and this is true, test it out. If you have a radio in your car with 5 buttons, your wife has 3 or 4 of those buttons programmed, and you have 1.
Okay.
So if you're a radio station appeal to women, and you got the men by default. So dancing music, when disco hit, or dancing, I mean, it was really great for women because men actually, for the first time in modern history, got up and danced. So yeah, play dance music and you get all the females, which is okay. I'm one of the few guys I know that likes to get up and dance. I always have.
The thing that happened though, and this corporate mentality that took over to the point now where there's one chain that has 850 outlets. was because there was money to be made. And when FM first came around, they thought it was a throwaway, that it was not worth programming. So with Tom Donahue and people like that in San Francisco in '67, is it WBCN in Boston and some of these other stations?
KMET LA.
KMET.
Yeah.
They were letting the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah.
And of course, it was great. There was
Worked.
people out there that tuned in.
Right.
But as that slowly got taken away from youthful, thoughtful, passionate programming, individual programmers, to the point where you hear the same song in every market the same amount of times, every day, obviously the passion for listening died. I was in the period then when I was realizing that radio is a job for, mostly for young people who really have the passion to do it, although I had the passion to do it because I wanted to play a lot of different kinds of music. If you have that passion now, you may as well just tuck it away in your pocket. Forget it. You
Or
have to
start an internet radio station.
Right.